Hi, everyone, and welcome to tonight's episode of the Two Blind Mice Show. My name is Philip, and joining me today is Vanna, also known as my wife, Mary.
Mary, a.k.a. Vanna. That's the way you do it.
The hostess with the mostess. And, of course, we got Albert with us today, flipping the switches and pushing the buttons for us, making sure everything goes okay. Thank you, Albert. Say hi,
You're
Albert.
welcome. You're welcome.
All right. Unfortunately, Justin is not able to join us tonight. He's pretty much gotten a big, busy schedule because of school. So it's just going to be us. And in a minute, I'm going to introduce our guest. But let me do a quick monologue as to how things are, making an announcement. First of all, on May the 6th, we are going to have another guest coming on regarding travel. Katie White with, oh my gosh, I forgot her name. The name of the... it's a travel agency that focuses on creating travel plans for people with visual impairments. Mm-hmm. We are planning on being part of a group that's going to Alaska this September. I'm looking forward to it because I like hanging out with other blind people.
We're like 50 blind people on that cruise?
There were supposed to be initially 16. It didn't happen. Now they're over 50.
Over 50.
So we're going to do that. She's going to be on our show on May the 6th. And we hope you join us for that one. Because I think it's pretty interesting because of what she does. She specializes in booking trips for people with visual impairments. I think it's pretty cool. So anyway, I just repeated myself.
Yes, you did.
All right. So before I go to what we're doing now is let me tell you a quick joke that I've been told to do. Now, if you don't think it's funny, don't put it in the comments because my feelings are going to get hurt. I'm going to cry myself to sleep, and I'm going to keep Mary awake. And then I have to hear her in the morning. I'm going to cry some more. We don't want that. So anyway, this is what's going on. There was a gentleman, an old farmer, and he had a wife that just kept constantly nagging him day and night, over and over, just going at him, this, doing this, you're not doing that, blah, 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 yeah. He's doing it over and over again, fine. He just took it. He never said a word, just kept it to himself and just lived his life. Well, one day he's out on the farm, he's plowing the fields. He's got his mule with him. He's doing his thing. And around lunchtime, his wife shows up. And she's got his lunch with him. So he grabs his lunch, the mule, his wife, and him. They all head out to the tree, and they sit under it. It didn't take long before his wife starts going at him again. You don't do this. You don't do that. You know what kind of a blah, 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 blah. Just going on and on and on and on and on. And after about 10 minutes, for whatever reason, the mule just kicked and popped her on the head, killed her instantly. Well, we're at the funeral, and everybody's saying their goodbyes and expressing their condolences. And the farmer was at one point standing over by the one side of the funeral, and every time a lady walked up to him, he would nod yes, his head up and down. He would nod yes and everything. And he noticed that over, and the reverend that was doing the memorial service kept looking at that and noticed that he kept doing that. But what he also noticed was that every time a gentleman walked up to him, he would not know. So after about 20 or 30 minutes, curiosity got the better of the reverend. And he finally got some time, walked up to him and asked him, why is it that when you're approached by the ladies of this meeting, you always nod yes? And his response was, well, they're all expressing their condolences and letting me know how sorry they are. And of course, I'm just nodding yes. And the minister understood it. I said, okay, I get you. So, but I do have another question. Why is it when the men walk up to you, you keep nodding no? And without skipping a beat, the farmer says, they want to know if the mule's for sale.
Quack, 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 quack.
What can I say? You can send the letters to P.O. Never mind.
No.
Never mind. Just
Bad
put it in the
jokes.
comments. Put it in the comments. I didn't want to say this joke, but they made me.
Bad jokes.
All right, let's go into the show right now. Today we have a guest, Lindsay Lucine, with, am I pronouncing your name correctly?
Lindsay what?
I'm basing your name on what voiceover pronounces it.
Lindsay
Try
Lohan?
again.
Lindsay Lucine?
Lucine.
Lucina.
Ah, okay. Lindsay Lucine. Okay.
Call her Lindsay. I won't remember.
Yeah,
what.
close though.
Wow. I did not expect the
I thought you were
pronunciation.
saying Lindsay Lohan. I was like, what? He said it so fast, he was trying not to say it wrong. You wouldn't know.
Anywho. Anyway, let me start off with a quick monologue about what we're going to be discussing today. And it is about traveling with vision loss. In fact, Mary and I were in Las Vegas about 3 weeks ago.
Yeah.
And it was first time for Mary. And it was the 5th time for me. However, this was the first time I traveled being blind. And I have to admit that it was a totally different experience than I expected, because if you've been to Las Vegas, especially on the Las Vegas Strip, it's nothing but lights. And it's really fun to watch, really interesting to see. When I went there, I saw the fountains over at the Bellagio. Beautiful thing to see. And actually, if you go to there and you stand by the fountains, the temperature drops by about 10 degrees. So it's a great thing in the summertime.
You didn't take me there.
You couldn't have seen it.
But I wanted the temperature to drop 10 degrees.
It was 70 degrees. See,
Oh, yeah,
son
it
of a
was-
spoiled. It was 70 degrees in
It
Las
was nice in
Vegas. It
Vegas.
couldn't be any better than that. Anyway, we went to the M&M store. We went to the Coke store, which in itself was a pretty cool experience, considering that we cannot see. They have a deal there where you can purchase 16 different type of Coke flavors from around the world. That was different.
Yeah.
Okay, one, we can't see what the Coke looks like. We don't know if it looks like your regular Coke, but I can tell you this much. When you drink a Coke that tastes like barbecue sauce,
Oh.
that's
Mm.
different.
Blah.
And it did taste like barbecue sauce. The other one tasted like cucumber. One tasted like lime.
Aspirin. Blah. One tastes like literal aspirin.
Well, was that?
That was
that's
the one from
that's-
Italy.
Yeah, that was horrible.
Oh.
I don't know how they
I
do
don't
it.
know how they do that either.
Anyway, we went to the M&M store. We did our thing, and it was a fantastic experience, to tell you the truth. We used it, Lyft, everywhere we went, so
Yeah.
we got there pretty quick. In fact, talk about being scammed and not knowing it. And one of our trips on Lyft, we went 3 blocks.
Which we
That's
could've
right,
walked.
and we paid for it too.
We
So
could've walked.
yeah, we could have walked. Yeah, and that's one of the the obstacles that we deal with being blind. But the fact is, though, there's a very positive side to it. We were in part of the strip where it was crowded. It was nighttime.
Mhm.
Traffic was everywhere, and everything opened up for us like the Red Sea. People saw us coming with our canes, and they just got out of the way. We got to the intersection. They had APSs, and if you're not familiar with what APSs are, those are the audio pedestrian signals that you can use to get across the street, talks to you, beeps to you, and everything. Had them there. We could use those. Now, don't get me wrong. Our daughter was there. She was helping us get along, but that was an experience in itself that we had, and it was great because we're not used to that where we live, and
Yep.
it was unusual for us.
Yeah.
We had a fun time.
I never bumped into anybody. Or should I say nobody ever bumped into me.
And
They
which-
didn't even get near me. It's like I had a disease or something. She's behind. Oh, it's catchy. No, I'm just kidding. But I'm used to walking where people bump into me constantly. Here they do that.
and I'm the one that tells the bad
The
jokes.
only thing that happened is I walked into a sign at the top of my head. Apparently I was a little too tall for it. So
Which you
they
kind of,
went right under. I went right in to the sign. Because
And
Meg and Phil are both like 5'6".
there we go.
I'm 5'8".
I knew it was going to happen. She brings the whole height issue into it all.
Yeah,
Fine.
but
Well, you
anyways.
know what? I didn't hit myself on the sides, and I'm happy.
I almost lost my sunglasses. Yeah, they were off
No.
my head.
The fact is, we had a good time.
It was fun.
Mary, like I said, had never been there. It was her first time playing with a slot machine, and she lost.
Yeah, I suck at it. Sorry, excuse my language. I'm no good at it.
Suck.
All I do.
Anyway,
How can you see to play the slot machines, anyways? It's like, poor Meg was having to help me with it. So, anyways, let's get to our guests.
let's
Move on.
let's get to our guest. We just wanted to share our regional experience.
I did play Wheel of Fortune. Let me put that in before we go.
What a coincidence!
Vanna White played Wheel of Fortune.
We got a picture of it too.
I know. Oh, it was super exciting.
So anyway, tonight we have Lindsay, Lucine,
Lucine? Yeah, almost.
almost
Close.
okay. Okay, I'll get it eventually. And she has a Facebook page called Vision Loss Travel, and that's how we met. And Lindsay, tell us what Vision Loss Travel is.
All right. So, with the vision loss travel community, I want to bring people together that love traveling but have a visual impairment. And as you know, it comes with a whole bunch of challenges. So, therefore, I feel it is really important to bring people together so that we can encourage each other, bring new ideas in the equation, and just find ways to support each other to travel more.
Okay.
Well, let me tell you, this August we plan on being in Seattle for a couple of months. We're looking forward to that, and we've had some. I really can't say we haven't had any bad travel experiences other than long stopovers at airports. We went to Wisconsin in January. But flew into Minneapolis.
Mm-hmm.
On the way back, we had a 3-hour wait in Kansas City. Just for those of you who don't know, we prefer to travel on Southwest because Southwest is very good about accommodating us. The flight crews, they know what they're doing when it comes to people.
And no
You can tell they've been trained.
No assigned seating.
Yeah.
Ugh. We
Yeah,
like
no assigned seating, and of course, it's cheap.
It's cheaper.
So anyway, but we do that, and we've had some really good experiences traveling. We're waiting to see what's going to happen in Seattle, and again, we're flying Southwest. And unfortunately, we have a 6-hour stop in Dallas.
But this is about her, not about us.
I know. I was about to have the mic back.
Okay.
This is how it is at home, folks. Somebody send me some help.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Her.
so in your experience, Lindsay, now that I'm talking about traveling on airlines, any tips, any ideas, anything you've come across?
Definitely. So when I was living and working in Canada, I traveled a lot by plane. I'm originally Belgian. For people that know Belgium well, it is tiny, so we don't travel by plane there. So getting to Canada, that was brand new for me, traveling with guide dogs and blind people on the plane.
Mm-hmm.
What I've noticed is definitely in Canada, I don't know how well it is in the US, but in Canada is that the staff of the airport is very accommodating. And if I can give you, there's a couple of tips that I can give you. I made a whole segment on it on my YouTube and on my Facebook. It's about an hour long. But the biggest tip I can give you is bring your cane. Even though if you feel like your sight is still good enough, you don't need a cane, or maybe you're traveling with a sighted person, still bring your cane, because that is the indicator that you have a visual impairment. And that is also what is going to get you to skip the lines, to get the help that you need, to, move ahead, not having to wait everywhere. And I felt definitely in Canada that was very, very well accommodated.
Yeah, that's one of the things I'll admit I enjoy. Yeah, it doesn't matter which airline you fly in. The pre-boarding process does make it so much easier, not only for us, but for the people that are going to eventually board the plane. I enjoy that as a good accommodation. I've yet to encounter any problems with it. Yeah, well, really, I should say we, because we travel together everywhere. So I understand what you mean about the cane. I pretty much rely on it 100%, except here at home. Same thing with Mary. So for us, that's not really much of a concern. It's more of a habit, and it's a good
concern,
habit.
even with the cane here in the valley, people still don't even know what it is. Believe it or not, we went to a concert last weekend, and the people working there still didn't know what a navigation cane was. They're like, "Well, what is that?" I'm like, "Really?" We showed them our cane, and they still don't understand what we are. And that was like, you have to educate people where we live a lot, because even seeing a cane, they don't know what it's for. Can you believe that? Still, remember at where we went?
Yep. I remember that.
Yep.
Let me ask you, what pluses and minuses have you encountered staying at hotels?
Do you mean with
Yeah,
blind
both,
people?
Yeah,
Yeah.
good and bad experiences that blind people
For visually impaired, yeah.
Yeah. Let me think. I worked for guide dog center.
Mm-hmm.
So what we do with the guide dog center is that we have these hotels that we regularly use.
Mm-hmm.
So the advantage of that is that the hotels know us. They know that we come with a visually impaired person. They know that we come with guide dogs. So I have not had any issues with it. A tip that I could give you is call ahead. Some hotels have disability rooms, which are,
Mm-hmm.
on the first floor, close to the reception, easy to go and ask things. Another thing that you could do, definitely if you're staying for a long term in a hotel, is ask for the evacuation plan. So like that, you get a bit of an idea what the hotel is going to look like, where everything is. And then definitely if you travel regularly and you travel to the same hotels over time, just make sure you know your room number if you enjoy the room, and then try to book in advance and just get the same room every time.
Yeah. Yep.
You know, I have to admit that
That's good advice.
until you mentioned learning the evacuation route, I never gave it a thought.
Yeah.
I'll admit, I never gave it a thought. And I'm like, that makes a lot of sense. And I'm glad you brought it up, because when I've gone to a hotel, whether on business or pleasure, it's how comfortable can I be? I
Yeah.
never considered the fact that there might be a reason to evacuate. We were in New Orleans about 3 years ago, and we stayed at the Marriott there during the NFB convention. And start off with, the elevators were accessible, meaning there was a special keypad that we could use to select the floor. The elevator talked to us. We were up on the 15th floor, and not once did I consider an evacuation route. How are we going to get out?
Mhm.
And
Yeah.
it never dawned on me. And I'm glad you mentioned that, because it just, I know, maybe a little dense on my part, not realizing that, but the fact is that I never thought of it. And I'm glad you
Yeah.
brought it up. I really did.
Yeah. I would also say when you arrive in a hotel, that is definitely also something you want to ask at the desk. It's like, okay, can you bring me up to my room? And like, take that opportunity. Somebody goes to your room, really ask everything you want to ask. Okay, where is this? How do I open up the window?
Mhm.
What would be the fastest evacuation route from here? Can you show me? Can you show me the way to the restaurant? So because not everybody travels with a sighted person, you know,
Yeah.
it's important to let people help you, to let people give that explanation, to ask a lot of questions, and you're gonna notice that people love providing you that information.
Yep.
You're right about
Some
that.
do.
Yeah, you do. Again, it depends on where you're at. Here, well, sometimes it's like pulling teeth. But yeah, okay. So we touched on that. Now,
Trains.
if
I mean, planes. Now, what
no,
about
no,
cruise?
No, actually, hold on. I got one.
Okay.
I mentioned that we were in Vegas. We used Lyft for everywhere we went. I know that in Las Vegas they have a monorail system that goes through the strip hotels, or behind the strip hotels. That's very accessible. It is very convenient and it's very affordable. But we used Lyft in this particular case because we were staying at a hotel that was nowhere near the railroad or the subway or the monorail, whatever you want to call it. So we used Lyft pretty much everything we went. Any recommendations on using a ride share, or really I should say suggestion using a ride share or using a subway? Whatever, any suggestions you
You
would
mean
have on
public transportation?
that? Oh yeah.
Is that what you mean?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Apparently I do.
Yeah, public transportation.
um, well, it is different for everyone, every transportation that you said, right? I'm thinking mainly when you talk about Lyft and Uber,
Yeah.
the main important thing is that you place yourself in a very obvious spot so that this person can easily spot you. Always make sure, and that is for everyone out there, always make sure that you get into the right car with the right person.
Yeah.
And you don't have any issues with that. And then when it comes to public transport, obviously that's a bit more different. I feel it's very important to really know where it is located. If there is like a north and a south, or you know, that you get on the right side, obviously, and check ahead online. The good thing now is that everything is online. You can really do your research. If there is assistance, apply for the assistance. Check out where you have to be to get that. If not, try to ask people as much as you can.
Mhm.
When you get onto something, ask again, like, am I on the train going there? Yes or no?
Mhm.
And that is definitely something. It's not always easy, right?
Nope.
To to ask people and to ask for help when you need it, or to ask for information when you need it. And I know that that is not easy. Maybe you need to ask more than one person, which can be annoying and maybe even a bit embarrassing. But at the same time, it's, as you do it, it gets easier. And it's just important that you know you have the right train, you have the right bus. If it's a bus, the driver, that's your person, right? So ask, and always bring the cane, no matter how your visual impairment is. Just always bring the cane, have that visual aspect to let people know that you have a visual impairment. And for people that are not really sure about using it yet, you're going to notice once you start using your cane that people tend to be a little quicker in helping you and a little quicker in providing you answers. And yeah, I would advise to definitely use that. Overcome the fact of asking questions, asking help, for sure.
Yeah.
I will admit that for years I was too prideful to ask for help, and it's difficult. And I eventually did swallow my pride. And now, whenever I go anywhere by myself, I get there, I call out and ask, anybody there? And if somebody answers, I'll ask them, can you tell me which way to go in order to get to where I'm going?
Yep.
There's nothing wrong with doing that. I know a lot of people have some qualms about doing that. I used to, so I'm not going to criticize anybody for still doing it. It just happens. But there comes a point in our life where we do need to ask for help, and there's nothing wrong with it. Now, along those lines,
I had to.
yeah. Oh,
I
in
had to ask
fact,
for
yeah,
help.
yeah. In fact, Mary, she was over at the Crisco Rehabilitation Center in Austin.
Mhm.
Austin is a very accessible city,
Very.
and
I asked for help many times. Every week I had to go on either a bus or somewhere by myself to a certain destination. And yeah, I have to ask.
and the significance of that is when I met Mary 5 years ago. Gosh, it's been almost 5 years. Wow. When I met Mary 5 years ago, there was no way you're going to get her out of the house.
No.
Oh,
And
really?
I was a
yeah,
hermit.
she was a complete hermit.
Yeah.
And to know that she went to Chris Cole and came back a totally different person is a great surprise for me. And the thing is, she used to tell, we talked every day while she was up there, and the stories, experience that she shared with me was very surprising to me because she was doing it.
And I even went to the airport by myself. All of that by myself. Got the sky cap and all that to take me to the gate. Everything all by myself. Got on the plane. Everything. Went
That's incredible.
Yeah, I've done all that 2 or 3 times by myself.
That was unheard of 5 years ago.
Yeah.
Now I'm excited to go to Seattle and see what kind of trouble I can get in.
Yeah.
Yep.
I'm going to be there. You better not.
I know, no.
You don't get me in trouble. Her and her daughter together, they can be quite a package.
Yeah. My daughter's in Seattle, so we're going to visit her for 2 months.
That's
It's one of those things where
Yeah.
I'm glad I can't see because I don't want to know what they're doing, but that's okay.
What about going on a cruise? Do you have any advice for that?
To be honest, cruises is not my biggest expertise.
Okay.
But as we talk about hotels, I feel cruise is very similar to that. Normally, I assume on a cruise, you have already your designated room.
Mhm. Yeah.
Same thing. Ask for an evacuation plan. Definitely, if you're going on a cruise with, how many was it? 50, 60 people?
50
Make
flying,
sure-
50 at this point.
but
Right, that's
2,500 people.
Awesome. Yeah, that's
500
just,
people. Yeah.
that's incredible. That's awesome. That's going to be so much fun.
Yeah.
Like, have the evacuation plan. Why am I saying the evacuation plan? Because that is going to be your blueprint of the ship,
Ship.
right?
Yeah.
If then you also know, okay, this is my room. I'm not saying go study and know everything by heart by the time you get on, right? No.
Right.
it's mainly important that you kind of know, okay, there are 3 restaurants. The theater is next to the Italian restaurant. Like just the small little things, because that is going to give you a bit more reassurance. You know, it's going to be like, oh yeah, I remember that from when we went over the plan. And you're going to know a couple of things. I'm not saying know it all by heart. So that is one thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, don't go studying.
No. Yeah.
And then another thing that I would say is take your time. So first of all, you get on that cruise, you're all excited. It's going to be, oh, let's go and explore, you know. But at the same time, people are still getting on, you know, it's chaotic. I would suggest first get to know your room, and maybe your first route would be going from the room to the information desk or a person, you know, where you can talk to, and back to your room.
Right.
And then take a break, relax a bit. And then the next it might be evening, you know, all right, let's do a route to the restaurant and back to the room.
Yeah.
Even if you're with a sighted person, I would suggest doing the routes from the room and back to the room every time. Next route from the room back to the room every time. So that like that you can make a plan in your head, and whatever route you've tried, it always refers back to the room, because it can get really complicated on a cruise.
Yes.
There are way too many things to do on there. So I would definitely say take your time, do it in a course, maybe even over a couple of days, right? And so yeah, that's definitely also again, what is the quickest way to get to, let's say, the upper deck, where it's safest when there is something going on, and practice that.
Okay.
I would definitely practice that.
Yeah. Good advice.
Here's something that not many people are aware of, and I'll admit that I don't know if all the cruise lines do this. What I do know is that Royal Caribbean, which is the cruise line that we're going to be sailing on, it provides free Wi-Fi to anyone who's visually impaired. Because the main reason is, of course, the technology that we use is on our phones in order to get us around, whether it's Be My Eyes, Seeing AI, FaceTime, whatever it is, we need that to get around on the ship. So when I was told that was going to be the case, I was very surprised. In our case, Mary and I are both blind, so each one of us is going to get access to Wi-Fi on our phones. Anybody else that is not visually impaired, you know, there's a fee for that.
Yeah.
So that's one of the great benefits that really surprised me when I found out that was available to us, and the reasoning behind it is very good, because let's face it, visually impaired people use a lot of technology to with their daily lives.
We do now.
And
the
that
thing
brings
is
me
there.
and that brings me up to the next topic, is the technology that's available out there. You mentioned learning the evacuation route. Like I said, I never thought about that at all. But one thing that I always do now that I've discovered it, which is not even a year ago that it started becoming an issue, Be My Eyes has an AI feature where you can take a picture of anything and it'll describe what it is. So what I do when I get to the hotel, I stand at the entrance of the door and take a picture of the room. And it's very, very detailed in many cases, and it's quite helpful. It really is. You know, if you have you're at one of those hotels where you set your own thermostat, you can point it up to the thermostat, or the control panel, and it'll tell you that it's the control panel, but it also tell you what the temperature is, where each button is in relation to itself on the panel, and how to set it up, how to set it down on the temperature. It's a fantastic thing to use.
So what is your specialty? Is it traveling with guide dogs, or just traveling with visually impaired?
Or just traveling in general?
So I am a travel coach. To explain that, the difference between a travel agent and a travel coach is that a travel agent will make sure that you get the hotel at the best deal, that your activities are booked, that there is a cab going from the airport to the hotel. Those are the things that travel agents sort out for you. what I do and what other travel coaches do is we help people travel, first of all, more safely. So I help people with how can they get from A to B safer, and then also more meaningful. Let's say, for instance, um, you're feeling a bit burned out from work. I'm just going to give an example, right? You're feeling a bit burned out from work, and you're not really sure what you want to do with your life. You're a bit in a darker place, but you want to travel, and you want to gain more confidence, and you want to feel better about yourself. Okay, but where am I going to go? Where? And why? And those are things that travel coaches help with a lot, is really, really digging deep into what do you seek to gain out of your travels.
Oh, okay.
To give an example, if you go to Florida and you lay on the beach for 2 weeks, you got to be well rested out. No question about it.
Yeah.
But is it going to change your life?
Mm,
Probably not so
No.
much. Is it going to gain you self-confidence? Maybe a little bit, but probably not so much.
No.
So my job is really helping people to figure out where they want to go, why they want to go there, how they can make it more meaningful, and how they can make it more safe. But also I help people that want to travel, have not done it yet, and are seeking to step out of that comfort zone, but don't really know how to do it. It's a big step, and I help people break that down into miniature steps so that we can together work towards a goal of traveling.
Can I ask a
Wow.
question?
Yes.
Of course,
Robert?
yeah.
Okay, I know the Phil and Mary they concentrate more on the visually impaired because this the name of the show, Two Blind Mice.
Yeah.
I am sighted, but I'm mobility impaired. I'm stuck right in a wheelchair due to a stroke. A lot of what you're saying actually comes into play for us as well. You know, not just the visually impaired, but mobility impaired because you're right. You got to make the arrangements ahead of time. You got to know where the exits are. Uh, 'Cause, I mean, it does me no good if I'm gonna get a room and all of a sudden, yeah, here's the stairs. Take your wheelchair down. You know.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So yeah, a lot of what you're saying does come into play even for us visual people, but mobility impaired.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, it's statements like Albert just made, and the information that you provided, Lindsay, is one of the things that I'm working on, is bringing people from other countries so they can talk to us about what accessibility is like in their countries. I'm hoping to do that. I hope if anybody from outside the U.S. is listening to this show, feel free to reach out to us. You're welcome to come on and tell us your experiences.
Well, how is it in Panama?
In Panama, I just arrived, so I don't know exactly too much, but I just came back from Costa Rica.
Oh, okay. Costa Rica. Yeah,
Costa Rica.
We want to
Mhm.
go there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
How is it
in my opinion, Costa Rica seems extremely accessible
there? Really?
because Costa Rica, the country itself, has profiled themselves into being a very touristy country, very welcoming to tourists. Like, if you want to get to places, there are multiple ways on getting there.
Oh, okay.
There are a lot of private guides as well, private shuttles as well, if that is what you need. But it goes up to public buses, right? So there is a level of, okay, I want to go privately in a nicely air conditioned car with a private guide. You can do that. Or you can like go, there is a whole wide range of the level of adventure you want. The thing about Central America that I think is could be challenging is the way the streets are created. Because what happens currently, we started the rainy season here as well. Is when it's rainy season, there are massive rain dumps, and what happens is in in 20 minutes the streets are just blank, and it goes very quickly. But what happens, and what I've definitely seen in Costa Rica, but also in other Central America countries, is the streets are created with a very, very deep, how do you call that, where the water runs through.
The grates, like the grates, or the where the water
Yeah.
goes in. Yeah.
Where the water pipes, so you have like the
Yeah.
curb, and then you have where the water would run.
Yeah.
They are extremely deep, like they are
Oh.
a meter deep and like a meter and a half wide. So extremely dangerous to go on certain streets. And then they have little bridges between the sidewalk and the road. So yeah,
So,
there are, however, tactiles and everything,
Oh.
and but still, it's going to be
That-
challenging to
yeah,
move.
that's what I was going to ask you as to what accessibility they have on the streets. Are there ramps? I know you mentioned tactile, but are there ramps on the streets at the corners?
Like curb cuts. Curb cuts. You know what those
Yeah,
are?
we call
Do-
them curb cuts.
You mean for wheelchair people with a
Yes.
wheelchair?
Yes.
It's hard to explain. They're more like little bridges.
Okay.
It's like a little bridge. You could
Yeah.
go on there for sure with a wheelchair. But mainly what I'm thinking is with a cane, it's going to be very complicated because, which line are you going to follow, right? Are you
Yeah.
going to follow the sidewalk line? So that's complicated. But at the same time, because definitely when we talk about Costa Rica, right? If you want to try out Central America,
Yeah.
Costa Rica is the right one to start with.
Okay.
Because they're gonna pick you up at your hotel at the exact time that you say. Like, it's going to be really well organized for sure.
Right. And would you say it would be easier for sure to go with a guide dog, right, to Costa Rica, or not?
No,
No.
I don't think it definitely won't be easier
Okay.
to go with a guide dog. Just because also Costa Rica has a very rich wildlife.
Okay.
It possibly could cause some issues in certain national parks, certain activities
Okay.
with a guide dog. Yeah.
So you would not take guide dogs to Costa Rica? Okay.
Yeah,
'Cause we're both
I
trying
would
to
not
get there.
advise it, but also there's a couple of things, right? First of all, you have an abundance of wildlife.
Yeah.
Then second, it's extremely hot, very humid. That is not very comfortable for dogs.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry?
No, he's talking to somebody else.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Ah,
We can hear
and
you, Albert.
all right. And then also I'm thinking about parasites, right? So a whole
Yeah.
different range of parasites.
Well, that's good to know. I wouldn't want to take my dog into that anyways.
Mhm.
Because we're both trying to get a guide dog right now. So
Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah.
So,
Working with guide dogs, traveling with guide dogs is completely different than
Yeah.
with a cane. And the question you always have to ask yourself is, first of all, do I really need my guide dog for this? And then second, is this animal going to be comfortable? Is it okay to bring this animal in this situation? Could be any situation, right? Going to a concert
mhm.
where there's thousands of people.
Yeah.
Is that a good place to bring a guide dog? I guess everybody
No.
knows the answer, right? So
Nope.
yeah.
Speaking of that,
Somebody's
Talking
barking.
about dogs.
He's like, you're taking me.
Yeah.
you mentioned at the start of the show that you have a YouTube channel. Is that also called Vision Loss Travel?
Yes. Everything is called Vision Loss Travel. On Facebook, it's called the Vision Loss Travel Community. So everybody that loves traveling, always welcome to join. I'm going to start up also with my Travel Tuesdays. So every first Tuesday of the month, we're going to talk about traveling. And every Tuesday or every month, it's going to change subject. So it could be that we're going to talk about Europe one month, but it could also be that we are going to talk about air traffic right? With it,
Mhm.
with a visual impairment, or cruises.
Yeah.
Maybe another segment will be mainly about anxiety and fear and how to overcome it and which
Oh,
steps to take.
that's
Yeah,
a good one. That's a
yeah,
good one.
yeah.
How
So
are,
each
how
month it's a different subject. Yeah.
how
Okay.
will we be able to access it?
The easiest thing would be to join the community on Facebook. Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
Okay.
Are we going to be able to ask you questions on there too, or it's just going to be? It's not going to be live, right? It's going to be. Can we ask you
Um,
questions later on
no,
your site?
so you can ask. So it's going to be live,
Okay.
and it's going to be very interactive.
Oh,
It's via Zoom, so
okay.
everyone can talk whenever they want. If they want to add something, if you have a story to tell,
Okay.
you're welcome. I love to have that interaction. I don't want to
Yeah.
be like, hey, listen to me, everyone. Um, I love everybody to have a say, but then at the same time, if you're like a quiet listener,
Mm,
you're definitely still welcome to join. I won't, do like any introductions or
okay.
anything. Like
So,
everybody can talk if they want or not. It's all
oh.
fine.
So when are you starting this? When is it starting?
So the next Tuesday is, if I'm not mistaken, the 7th.
Yes.
We're starting, and that is the very, very first one. So when people are
Okay.
going to join now, it's really just going to be first easing into it, a bit
Hmm.
of an introduction about who am I, what does the Vision Loss Travel community stand for, what can people expect, any questions people have. It's the moment to ask them. And then starting from there, each month there's going to be a different subject.
Awesome.
You,
I can't wait to listen to them.
you mentioned earlier that you're a travel coach. Uh, how can anybody get in contact with you to take advantage of what you do?
Yeah.
Yes. So I have a website, so that's also just visionlosstravel.com.
Okay.
You can email me visionlosstravel@gmail.com. So or via Facebook as well.
Mhm.
Once you are part of the community, you can also send me private messages. I
Okay.
do my very best to accommodate everybody with replying to all the messages. So there are multiple ways of contacting me. Feel free to do so.
Oh yeah.
I love to connect with people and communicate with everybody.
Yeah, we need your advice. You give out some good travel advice there.
Yeah, you do.
Because you've been to these places. We have not.
Yeah.
So I need your knowledge of where I should go, where I really shouldn't go, That's safe for us to go as a couple, blind couple.
Yeah,
Yeah.
for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, for
Or,
sure.
or
And
just
it's
me.
also important, as I said, what's the purpose of your
Hmm.
trip, right? Like,
Yeah.
what are you looking to gain? Could be cultural experience, right?
Hmm.
Could
Mhm.
Yeah.
be, I want to go try different foods, or
Hmm.
but could be anything. Somebody that just went through a breakup. Like, travel is so powerful, and I
Yep.
think people underestimate that. Like you said, 5 years ago, you were not traveling. Now you started traveling, and now you're like
Hmm.
excited about it, and
Yes.
what's going to happen next, and I want to go, and I'm sure you feel a lot more confident, and you
Yes.
know and traveling is so powerful that I want everybody to feel that
Yep.
and get more confident and get more resilient.
Yeah.
And therefore it's important that we try to stretch our comfort zone slowly,
Absolutely.
so that we can feel that. Yeah.
I'm going to try to conquer the subway, or what is it, the train in Seattle. Keep my fingers crossed because I haven't done a train yet, or a trans, or whatever they call them.
Yeah.
I'm going to
Yeah.
try
Oh,
to do
believe me,
that.
we'll keep everybody updated on our Seattle trip. See how that goes.
Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
going to
Anything
try
like
to
that.
do that. It's out of my comfort
Awesome.
zone, but I'm going to try to do that.
Well,
So,
frankly, she says it's out of her comfort zone. It's not out of my comfort zone. The last time I did get on one was in Washington D.C., but that was, oh my gosh, now that I think about it, that was 18 years ago.
it's
So,
time to do it
and
again.
at that time I was a little bit sighted, so it
Yeah.
was a different experience. Now I'm totally blind, so it's going to be an
Yeah,
even
we're
more different.
both totally
Yeah.
blind. So,
So we'll see.
Yeah.
Okay. Well,
that
Lindsay,
was great.
we want to thank you for coming on. You've given us some good
Mhm.
information. I do hope people take advantage of what you do. Just as a reminder, everyone, you can get hold of Lindsay at visionlosstravel@gmail.com. You can go to the Facebook and YouTube, or Facebook page, YouTube channel, and
Yep.
you can go to her
Wait,
website,
what?
visionlosstravel.com. So
Okay.
take advantage of it, guys.
Yeah.
We plan on doing so because we do plan on traveling quite a bit, and well, just take advantage
Yeah,
of it.
we'll be on there on Tuesdays.
Oh, yeah.
Awesome.
Let's not forget about that.
Yeah, I can't wait to hear all you have to share with us.
Yeah, I'll keep reminding everyone on our page that you're going to be doing that. So
Yeah.
do a little bit of
We'll do
outreach.
updates. It's next week, or when it's coming, we'll keep updating it to tune into your show
Yeah,
as we go. Okay.
All right,
All
Albert.
right.
Thanks, Lindsay.
Sir, yes, sir.
Thank you, guys.
Any questions or comments?
Thank you so much.
No questions, no comments at this time, sir.
Okay.
Thank you very much,
Lindsay.
Lizzie.
All
thank you
right.
very
Bye,
much.
guys.
Bye.
Have a
Bye.
good stay. Albert, take us home, Albert. Oh, wait a minute,
Okay.
wait. Don't take us home yet. Just a reminder, everyone, our next show is going to be on May the 6th at 8 p.m. Central Time. We are going to have Katie White from
She's our travel agent.
Memorable Something Vacations. I'll remember
It's
that.
the day before Lindsay's show
It's
starts.
the day before Lindsay's show. It's not going to be hard to forget that she's going to be doing it on. So everyone, join us next May 6th for our that show. It's going to be also about travel, but this time we're going to concentrate on the cruise we're
The one
taking.
actually going to go on with what's her name?
Katie White.
Katie White. Sorry, I have too many names in my head.
Something in there at least.
At least there's something in there.
All right,
Hey.
Albert, go ahead and take us home, everybody. Y'all have a good night. Thank you for listening,
Thank you, Albert.
and we hope to
Hey,
see you soon.
Philip,
Yeah.
Philip,
Yeah.
I turned the stream off about 5 minutes ago.
No, you didn't. Turn it off now.
Bye.
Bye.
I don't know why I pay you the way I do.
He was very. Hey, let's put a quick